At 4 months pregnant, I went to have a regular sonogram at my physician, and I was by myself, and he said that something just didn't look right and that he would need to send me to a high-risk physician. Not thinking, I guess, I went again by myself to the high-risk physician, and as I was laying on the table and they were doing the sonogram, the doctor and nurse kept saying, "That doesn't look right, that's not the right size." So tears started to fall, and she took me into her office and she said, "Your baby has a heart condition and she probably won't make it to birth." A week later, they sent us to a pediatric cardiologist, and they confirmed that she did have hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And in layman's terms, basically her left ventricle was not the size that it needed to be. And at that point, they told us we had 3 options: terminate the pregnancy, have her and have a 3-step surgery procedure that was maybe a 70% chance that she would make it through those, or have her and enjoy the days we had with her. And typically for babies that are born and that don't have procedures, they have about 5 days, and then everything shuts down and the child passes away without any intervention. And we decided together that, we were going to give her every chance that she had. We didn't know what that journey was going to be, but we knew that we loved her and that we were going to fight. I remember waking up one morning and looking at Donnie shortly after that, and I said, am I going to wake up and feel like this every morning? Am I going to have this empty, sad feeling of what is going to happen to our baby? And I was riding down the road one day, and a song came on that I had heard as a child, "He's Still Working on Me." And one of the verses says, "There really ought to be a sign upon my heart. Don't judge me yet, there's an unfinished part." And I said, that's it. That's her song. August 22nd, after 23 hours of labor, I had an emergency C-section, and I remember they asked Donnie if he was ready, and he said, "Yeah, I'm ready." So they held her up, and she screamed, and it was the best noise I think I've ever heard in my life, because we didn't know.
Yeah, she let out a scream that was, it certainly wouldn't make you think there was anything wrong with her heart. Certainly not with her lungs, I can promise you that.
She was put into the NICU immediately. So for 7 days, they checked on her and really debated what they were going to do. But they eventually decided to go with the Miller procedure, which is their original procedure. So at 7 days old, she had her first open heart surgery. And we got to hold her for the first time the night before her surgery. And, I tell you, you don't know faith until you have to hand your baby over to someone and say, "You're working on something the size of a strawberry, and just please bring her back to us." And that's the beginning of her showing us what a fighter she was. So she had her first surgery. We went and had "He's Still Working on Me" recorded. Mm-hmm. And as she laid in her bed in the PICU ICU for kids with heart conditions, that song played over and over and
30
over.
days, 24/7.
And we'd walk in and we'd have a new nurse and she'd be singing, "He's still working on it." And
right.
they all were singing it. It was in their head, and that was her theme song. But we have a step-up unit, and so about 7 days after her surgery, she went up to the step-up unit, and Donnie, of course, had to go back to work. So my mom came and stayed with me, and that night she was breathing a little funny, and her color was a little off, and so we brought the nurses in and we said, she's hooked up to all these monitors and numbers we didn't know at the time. Now we know exactly what they mean. She actually went into respiratory arrest that night. And it was about midnight, and we almost lost her. We lost her for a few minutes, and they brought her back. And that was quite a journey. You just get down on your face and say, God, please, you brought her through this first surgery. Please get her through this. We had quite a recovery. We were in the hospital for 28 days when she was first born. You're so excited to bring her home, but you're scared to death because you've got this fragile child. And I remember she would cry during the middle of the night, and I would get her and I would walk her around the house and I would shake her, and through my tears I would say, God, I cannot wait until she gets to the age where she can tell me what's wrong, because right now I'm just terrified. I don't know what these cries are. I know the devil was definitely putting fear inside of me, but I just had to cling to the fact that she was going to be taken care of. So during that process, I actually went and talked to a counselor because I just couldn't get over the fear and the doubt. And something he said to me stuck that day. It was something I knew, but I needed to hear it. And I went in and I said, something's wrong with me. I keep crying every day. I can't go to work. And he said, are you scared that she's going to die? And I said, yeah. I just have been afraid to say it out loud. And he said, well, you know what? She's not yours anyway. And I said, you're right. She's not. And I think it just took me hearing that from somebody else, that she's not mine, she's not ours. And, as hard as it is, you just have to give her to God every day. We got about 6 months at home with her, frequent doctor's visits, and then she has to go for her second procedure. So she was 6 months old. She had her second open heart surgery, which was hard because you've gotten to know this little baby with a personality and bring them back in.
Hand them off again.
Hand them off again. Really know the major complications during that surgery. And then you get 2 years. 2 years at home to watch them grow, and she did great. And then you get the call that it's time again. So we had our third surgery when she was 3. And I remember telling Donnie, I think this one will be easier because she's older. Boy, was I wrong. Because when they're older, they can talk, they can tell you what hurts, they can tell you I don't want to do this. And that by far was probably one of the hardest surgeries we had. It was our lengthiest stay. We were in the hospital for 33 days. And surgery went well, but after surgery, she developed fluid on her lungs and was hospitalized 3 times separately after her surgery, where they would put in chest tubes, let the fluid come out, pull those chest tubes out again. And to watch your child look at you and say, why are you letting me do this to me? Why would you let them hurt me? And if you want to explain this, we're doing all this for you, to help you. So probably 3 separate times we had to do the surgery after that. Then she had a pretty lengthy cath where they had to put her under again. This child came out of the hospital on probably 10 medications a day, and we are now down to 1 baby aspirin a day. And people say to us all the time, she's fixed. She's had surgery. That's not the case. He still has half a heart. And, we don't know what the future holds. We really don't. But we trust that God has her in his hands. He's shown us over and over through every surgery that she's had. He's brought her to us. He's made her stronger. What a testimony this girl's going to have one day. To say, I shouldn't be here, but I am. It's just amazing to know that at 8 years old, she's asked God into her heart. She's been baptized. And, I know that she has touched people already, but I just can't wait. She sings solos at church, and people have no idea what that does. We didn't know we'd ever see that day. And what glory we must get to have her sing and say what an awesome God she has through everything she's been through. And one day to have her stand up and tell her testimony, am.